Hey everyone, welcome back to Minute 60. Tonight I've got 5 disturbing true janitor horror stories that will make you think twice about empty hallways and dark buildings after hours. So grab a blanket, dim the lights and settle in, because once we start you'll want to keep listening all the way through. If you're new here, this is the channel where we share creepy, true scary stories that are perfect for late nights and sleepless hours. Before we dive in, I want to know, where are you listening from tonight? Drop your state, city, or even your country in the comments. It's always awesome to see this creepy little community stretch across the US and the world. And hey, if you love scary stories, make sure you hit subscribe and tap the bell, because we've got new nightmares for you every single day. All right, let's get into it. Okay. So Marcus had just started his night shift at this really old high school. And I'm not talking like a few decades old. It's ancient. Over 100 years, creaky floors, peeling paint, the whole vibe. You walk in there during the day, it's fine. But at night, man, it's a different world. He'd done the daytime shifts before, cleaning classrooms and hallways with people around. But the night shift, that's solo, totally alone. And you know how that feels. Every little sound feels amplified. He starts at the front office, keys jingling, checking the doors. The fluorescent lights flicker like they're struggling to stay awake. Marcus rolls his mop bucket down the hallway, and the wheels squeak with every turn. It's the kind of sound that echoes. And when it echoes in a building this old, it's like the hallways are mocking you. And here's the thing, the place isn't quiet in a normal way. There's this heaviness in the air, like it's waiting. Like the building itself is watching him move. He swears he feels eyes on him, but he's alone, totally alone. He passes the cafeteria and notices the chairs stacked perfectly on the tables, but one chair is slightly off, just a little. Nothing he can blame on anyone, he didn't touch it, and no one else is here. Marcus shrugs it off, but it sticks in his mind. Then he hears it. A faint hum, like someone walking with shoes that aren't his. He freezes. His heart's kicking, but he tells himself, it's just the building settling. Old pipes, old floors, get over it. Still, he can't shake the feeling that the shadows in the hall are moving. Not like actual people moving, but shifting, curling, almost like they're alive. And the longer he walks, the more he notices small things, tiny, almost unnoticeable noises. A creak here, a tap there, a whisper of air like someone breathing close behind him. He tries to focus on his cleaning, mopping, wiping down surfaces, but he keeps looking over his shoulder. Every shadow seems to stretch a little too far, like it's reaching for him. And even though he knows he's being ridiculous, part of him can't ignore it. By the time he finishes the first hallway, he's sweating a little, his heart's still racing, and he's already thinking, this is going to be a long night. So Marcus is pushing his mop bucket down the next hallway, trying to focus on his work and ignore that creepy feeling crawling up his spine. But then he hears it. Tap, tap, tap. At first he's like, okay, probably a loose ceiling tile or something. But the more he walks, the louder it gets, and it's not random, nope. It's rhythmic. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate footsteps. And they're not matching his own. He freezes, holds his breath, listens, nothing. Okay, he tells himself, relax, it's the pipes, old building noises. He keeps going, but the tapping comes back, closer now, echoing down the hall, his heart's pounding. Then the lockers at the far end of the corridor slam shut. Just one. Hard. No wind, no one there. Marcus nearly drops his mop bucket. He laughs nervously, shaking his head, saying, yeah, right, totally normal. But the thing is, it wasn't normal. The hallway feels alive now. Every little sound is louder than it should be. The hum of the lights, the squeak of the mop wheels, even his own breathing. He tries to focus on cleaning, telling himself it's just a night shift, just him and the empty school. But there's that whisper in the back of his mind, that little voice saying, "You're not alone." Marcus knows he's overthinking it, but you know how that goes. Once your brain starts seeing things in the dark, it doesn't stop. By the time he reaches the gym doors at the end of the hallway, he's walking a little faster, just hoping the weird noises don't follow him. All right, so Marcus is down by the gym now, trying to tell himself he's just imagining things. But as he pushes the mop bucket past the row of lockers, he catches movement out of the corner of his eye. Something slid across the wall, not fast, not like a person running, but just there, like a shadow stretching and twisting. He stops, spins around. Nothing. Empty hall, just the lockers, the flickering lights, and the soft hum of the building. He laughs nervously. "Yep, definitely losing it," he mutters. But even as he says it, he feels the hairs on the back of his neck standing up. He starts moving again, faster this time, and the shadow flickers again. Only it's gone the second he turns fully toward it. Marcus feels that familiar pit in his stomach, the one that tells you something isn't right. And then he hears it. A soft whisper, barely audible. Not words, just something. Like the air is vibrating with someone breathing right behind him. Marcus freezes again. His pulse is racing. He mutters under his breath, "Okay. Okay, it's nothing. It's just the building." But deep down, he knows it's not nothing. By the time he reaches the gym doors, his hands are trembling, and he's gripping the mop bucket handle like it's a weapon. He tells himself to just finish the shift, clean the gym, empty halls, simple. But every step feels heavier, like the shadows are pressing in, inching closer with every squeak of his shoes. So Marcus finally reaches the gym, thinking maybe he can shake off the creepiness once he starts cleaning. But no, things get worse. As he's wiping down the bleachers, he hears a faint dragging sound behind him, like someone or something is pulling a chair across the floor. He freezes, heart pounding, spins around, empty gym, just his reflection in the windows, dimly lit by the flickering lights. Okay, totally normal. It's just the old floorboards, he mutters, more to convince himself than anything. But then the sound comes back, louder this time, closer, and it's not random, it's slow, deliberate. It stops when he stops, starts again when he moves. Marcus starts to feel it creeping in, that gut-twisting, hair-on-end feeling that something is right behind him, just out of sight. He tries to shake it off and focus on the floor, but then he glances up, and one of the basketball hoops swings slightly. Not a breeze, not him, just swings back and forth. He swears he hears a faint whisper again, like someone is trying to get his attention. And now he's sweating, gripping his mop like a lifeline, thinking, okay, maybe I'm not imagining this. Maybe I am, but it feels real. By the time he finishes the first half of the gym, Marcus is already on edge, jumping at every little squeak or creak. Every shadow seems to stretch and twitch like it's alive, and he keeps telling himself, just finish the shift, just finish, you'll be fine. All right, so Marcus is halfway through cleaning the gym, trying to convince himself it's just an old building playing tricks on him. But then it happens, something he can't explain. He's wiping down the bleachers when he hears a loud clatter, like a bucket falling over, right behind him. He spins around, ready to yell, expecting to see the janitor supply cart or something knocked over by mistake. But nope, nothing. Just empty gym, dim lights, shadows stretching across the walls. He laughs nervously. Yeah, right, totally normal. But his voice sounds weird, too loud, echoing in the vast gym. Then the weirdest part, the bucket he was using. It's now in the middle of the floor. He swears he left it against the bleachers, not just slightly moved, it's like someone set it there. Marcus freezes, his heart's racing, palms sweating, and he whispers to himself, "Okay, seriously, what the hell?" And then he hears it. Not footsteps this time. A soft click, 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 coming from the far corner of the gym, like fingers tapping against the wall. Slowly, deliberately, he wants to leave, run straight for the exit, but he knows he has a shift to finish, so he keeps cleaning, but now every sound, every shadow feels alive, and the whole time he has this feeling that he's being watched closely. By the time he finishes the gym, he's shaking a little, trying to convince himself he's just imagining things, but deep down, he knows tonight's not going to be normal. So Marcus leaves the gym, trying to tell himself he just had a weird few minutes, and maybe he's overthinking everything. But as soon as he steps back into the hallway, it hits him again. The feeling that he's not alone. He hears it first, a faint, dragging sound, like something heavy being pulled across the floor somewhere behind him. His footsteps speed up, and he tries to act casual, like he's just doing his normal rounds. Then a locker door creaks open slowly. Just a little. Not slammed, not violently, but enough to make him freeze mid-step. He whispers to himself, "Yeah, old lockers, old hinges, just old lockers." But the weirdness doesn't stop there. The lights flicker again, and in that brief darkness, Marcus thinks he sees a shadow moving down the hall. He blinks, and it's gone. He shakes his head. "Okay, Marcus, just focus. Clean the classrooms, everything else is nothing." He rounds a corner, and the janitor supply closet door is slightly ajar. He's certain he closed it earlier. Slowly, he reaches out, thinking maybe the wind did it, but nothing. Just an empty closet. And that's when he hears a soft whisper. Not words this time, just a sound, like someone breathing through a vent, really close. Marcus freezes completely. His heart's racing. He thinks about calling it a night, but the idea of leaving now, terrifying. So he keeps walking, mop buckets squeaking, lights flickering, shadows shifting. Every sound, every shadow, every small movement feels deliberate, like the school itself is toying with him. By the time he reaches the science labs, Marcus is tense, sweating, and fully aware that tonight is not just a normal night shift. Something is in the building with him, and he has no idea what it wants. So Marcus is in the science wing now, right? And that dragging sound, those whispers, they're back. Only this time it feels closer, like someone or something is walking right behind him, staying just out of sight. He tries to tell himself it's his imagination. "It's the pipes, the creaky floors, nothing else," he mutters. But it's different now. The feeling, it's personal, like it's aware of him. Every step he takes, the floorboards groan in a way that makes him jump. Every locker, every lab table, every shadow in the corner seems alive, and he's gripping that mop bucket like it's the only thing keeping him safe. Then he hears it, a soft, almost deliberate tap, 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 coming from the far end of the hallway. Not random, not mechanical, slow, precise. Like someone is measuring their steps to follow him. Marcus stops, freezes, whirls around. Nothing. Empty hallway. Just the hum of flickering fluorescent lights and the faint smell of old chemicals lingering in the air. He whispers to himself, "Okay, just finish the shift. Don't think about it. Nothing's there." But he knows that isn't true. The air feels heavier, colder, like it's pressing in around him. As he walks toward the next classroom, he can't shake the feeling that every shadow is stretching just a little further, leaning toward him. Every echo of his shoes feels like a heartbeat in the dark. By the time he reaches the next classroom door, Marcus is sweating, tense, and more than a little freaked out. He keeps telling himself it's nothing, but deep down, he knows he's being followed. All right, so Marcus is finally reaching the end of the science wing, trying to stay calm and act like everything's normal. But then he sees it. Out of the corner of his eye, something moves, not fast, but deliberate. A shadow shifts across the wall. He spins around, nothing. Empty hallway, just lockers, doors, and the flickering lights overhead. He swears he hears a soft shuffle, like someone or something stepping lightly behind him. He grips the mop bucket tighter, every muscle in his body tense. Then a locker door creaks open. Slowly. Just one. And Marcus freezes. He swears he closed it when he started his rounds. He whispers to himself, Okay, it's fine. Just old lockers. Just the building. But even as he says it, his gut is screaming that it's not fine. He takes a deep breath and steps closer to the locker. Nothing inside, just empty shelves, dust and shadows. But the air feels different. He can feel it brushing past his skin, like something unseen just past him. Marcus backs away, heart racing. He tells himself to focus on cleaning, to finish his rounds, but every shadow now feels alive. Every little sound echoes differently. Every flicker of light feels like it's hiding something. By the time he reaches the next hallway, Marcus is sweating, nervous, and realizing tonight isn't going to be a normal shift. Something in this school is watching him, moving with him, and it's getting bolder. So Marcus rounds the corner into the next hallway, and now the school is starting to feel alive. Every creak, every flicker of light, every distant drip of water, it all feels deliberate, like the building is watching him, testing him. He's walking slower now, trying to stay calm, but every step makes a sound that echoes far too long. Then he hears it, footsteps mirroring his own. He stops. They stop. He moves, they move. He freezes completely, whispers again, so faint he can barely catch them, but they're there, right behind him, breathing, sighing, almost mocking him. He starts to feel crazy, talking to himself, saying, Marcus, it's just the building, it's just old pipes, nothing else. But deep down he knows better. The lockers along the walls creak. Some open slightly, then close. He swears one even slides a little across the floor. And the shadows... Man, the shadows stretch unnaturally now, curling along the walls like they're following him, studying him. Marcus grips the mop like a weapon, telling himself he just has to finish the shift. Just finish! He can leave in a few hours, everything will be fine. But that feeling of being watched, of something just out of sight moving with him, is growing stronger. By the time he reaches the library hallway, Marcus's heart is pounding so hard, he's pretty sure the echoes of his own heartbeat are following him down the hall. And he realizes this school isn't just old and creepy. Tonight, it's hunting him. Okay, so Marcus is inching his way down the library hallway now, trying really hard to act normal, but it's impossible. Every little sound makes him jump. Every flicker of the lights makes him tense up like crazy. And then he hears it, right behind him this time, a soft shuffle, almost like someone breathing, moving lightly across the floor. His heart is racing, palms sweaty, and he keeps telling himself, it's nothing, just the building. Relax. But then bam, something brushes against his arm, quick, light, but definite. Marcus spins around and nobody's there, just the empty hallway stretching into darkness. He's frozen for a moment, trying to make sense of it. Maybe a rat? Maybe a draft? Nope, nothing. And he's starting to realize that this isn't just random noises anymore. Something is following him, keeping pace, almost toying with him. The lights flicker again. And in that brief darkness he swears he sees a figure at the far end of the hallway. Just for a second it's there. Tall, thin, shadowy, unmoving. And then the lights come back, and it's gone. Marcus grips his mop bucket tighter, whispering under his breath, "Okay, just finish the shift. Just finish." But deep down, he knows that whatever is in this school tonight isn't going away. And the closer he gets to finishing his rounds, the bolder it's becoming. By the time he reaches the janitor's storage room to grab more supplies, Marcus's pulse is racing, every nerve on edge, and he's starting to understand that this night is not going to end normally. So Marcus makes it to the janitor's closet, right? He pushes the door open, grabs a fresh stack of trash bags, trying to keep himself busy, pretend like everything's fine. That's when he notices all the brooms and mops that were neatly lined up against the wall earlier. Yeah, they're all toppled over, just lying across the floor like someone pushed them. He freezes. He knows he didn't leave them like that. He's obsessive about order. He leans down to pick one up, and another broom slowly tips over on its own. Marcus backs up, muttering, "Nope, nope, nope, nope," like a mantra, because this isn't pipes or drafts anymore. This is something messing with him. He slams the door shut behind him, but the second he does, the light inside the closet clicks on again. He can see it glowing from underneath the door, like someone's still in there. That's when he hears it, a deep, dragging sound echoing from the hallway behind him, like heavy footsteps, but slower, deliberate, as if something huge is pacing back and forth. Marcus presses his back to the wall, listening. The dragging gets closer, closer, until it stops, right outside the closet door. He doesn't breathe, doesn't move, and then 3 slow knocks echo from the other side of the door. Not frantic, not loud, just patient. Like whatever's in there knows he's listening. At that point, Marcus realizes he's not just being messed with, he's being hunted. Marcus stands there with his back against the wall, heart pounding so loud he swears it's giving him away. Those 3 knocks, they weren't random. They felt like a warning, or worse, an invitation. He grips the mop handle so hard his knuckles ache. Finally, he forces himself to move. He takes one deep breath, swings the door open fast, and points the mop like a spear straight into the hallway. Nothing. Empty. Just the flickering overhead lights and the echo of his own shaky breathing. But here's the thing. He knows he didn't imagine it. The knocks were real. The dragging footsteps were real. And that closet light is still glowing bright behind him, even though he swears he switched it off. He takes a step forward into the hallway, calling out, "Who's there?" His voice cracks, but at least he tries. Silence answers him back. He starts walking slowly, scanning every doorway, every corner, telling himself he's not going to let this thing push him around anymore. But with every step, the silence gets heavier, like the school itself is holding its breath, waiting to see what he'll do. Then, behind him, a locker door slams shut. The sound explodes down the hall like a gunshot. Marcus spins around, and for a split second he sees it again, that same tall, thin figure standing at the far end of the hallway, perfectly still, perfectly silent. But when Marcus blinks, it's gone. Just vanished into the air. Now his bravado is gone. He's shaking, whispering, "I'm not crazy, I'm not crazy," over and over, because the only thing worse than this being real is the thought that maybe it isn't. Marcus is backing down the hallway now, mop still clenched in his hands, eyes darting everywhere. The school feels like it's shrinking, like the walls are pressing in closer with every step he takes. Then it starts again, the footsteps, but this time they're not echoing from far away. They're close, way too close, slow, heavy, deliberate, following him, keeping pace no matter how fast he moves. He tries to tell himself it's just the building settling, but then he feels it, a breath on the back of his neck. Warm, steady, way too human. He spins around, swinging the mop like a baseball bat, and nothing's there. Just the empty corridor, stretching into flickering light and shadow. That's when the lockers on both sides of him start rattling, one by one, like something's running its hands along them as it walks past, metal clanging and vibrating so loud it makes his teeth ache. Marcus covers his ears, shouting, "Stop it! Just stop!" But the noise only gets worse, building into this deafening roar. And then, silence. Instant, suffocating silence. He lowers his hands, slowly, breathing hard. That's when he notices a shape at the very end of the hall, standing just beyond the last flickering light. It's not moving, it's not breathing, but it's there, watching. And for the first time, Marcus feels like if he takes even one step closer, that thing will finally show him its face. Marcus slowly edges backward, never taking his eyes off that shadowy figure at the end of the hall. He's shaking so badly, the mop handle rattles in his grip. Every instinct in him is screaming, "Don't turn your back, don't run." But when he finally does glance over his shoulder, his stomach drops because the hallway behind him, completely blacked out. The overhead lights that were flickering a second ago are now dead, swallowed in this pitch-dark void. No exit signs, no glow from a window, nothing. Just endless black. Panic sets in. He's trapped. The figure at the end of the lit hall hasn't moved, but it feels closer somehow. The air is heavier, pressing down on his chest, making it hard to breathe. Marcus forces himself to whisper, "What do you want?" His voice cracks, echoing off the lockers. Silence. Then, one locker door creaks open by itself, slow and steady, right beside him. He whips his head around to look, and when he does, he sees something. A pale hand, long, thin fingers curling around the edge of the locker door from inside. Marcus stumbles back, trips over his own mop bucket, water sloshing across the tiles. He's on the ground now, staring as that hand retracts slowly, pulling back into the darkness of the locker until the door shuts with a soft click. The hallway is silent again, but Marcus knows he's not alone in this school, and whatever's here, it's not just haunting the building, it's playing with him. Marcus scrambles to his feet, clothes soaked from the mop bucket, heart hammering like it's about to give out. He doesn't even care about his job anymore, he just wants out. He stumbles toward the stairwell at the far end of the hall, but when he grabs the handle, the door won't budge, locked. He yanks harder, slams his shoulder into it, but it's like the metal has fused shut. That's when he hears it again, the breathing, slow, steady, right behind him. Marcus turns, and this time, it's not a trick of the light. The figure is there, standing halfway down the hall, fully visible now, tall, impossibly thin, its head tilting at an angle too sharp for a human neck. Its face, blurred, like a smudge on glass, but its eyes, if you can even call them that, glow faintly in the flickering light. Marcus freezes. The thing doesn't move toward him. It doesn't need to. With every flicker of the light, it's suddenly closer. 1 second, it's 20 feet away, then the light blinks and it's 10 feet away, then 5. Each time it appears, Marcus feels colder, weaker, like it's sucking the air out of him. He drops the mop handle, whispering, "Please." But his voice cracks into a sob, and then total darkness. The lights die completely. He can't see a thing, but he can feel it. Right in front of him. The weight of its presence pressing down so hard he can barely breathe. For what feels like forever, Marcus just stands there, paralyzed in the dark. And then 2 icy, bony fingers brush against his arm. The lights snap back on, empty hallway. The figure's gone. Marcus doesn't wait around this time. He bolts for the exit doors, and this time they fling open like they'd never been locked. He runs into the night air, gasping, not daring to look back at the school. And after that night, Marcus never worked another shift there again. And that was Marcus's last night in the old school. He quit the next morning without a second thought, leaving behind his uniform and keys. To this day, he swears he wasn't alone in that building, that something in those halls was watching, waiting, and feeding off his fear. Some say the school's just old, full of drafts and bad wiring, but Marcus knows what he felt that night. And honestly, if you ever find yourself working a night shift in a place that creaks and whispers like that, you might want to think twice before brushing it off, because sometimes it's not the building settling, it's something else, something that wants you to stay. All right, let's move on. So this janitor, let's call him Ray, he worked nights at this college dorm. It wasn't a bad gig. Most nights were quiet, just him pushing his cart down the long hallways while the students either slept or pulled all-nighters in their rooms. But there was one part of the building Ray never really had to worry about, the old girls' wing. That whole section had been shut down for months because they were renovating it. No students, no staff, nothing. Just empty rooms with stripped walls and dusty floors. Thing is, Ray always hated passing that hallway. Even when he knew it was empty, he got this weird feeling, like the air was thicker, heavier in that part of the building. Most nights, he just hurried past without looking down it. But one night, around 3 a.m., when the building was dead silent, Ray swore he heard something coming from that wing. A sound he couldn't explain. At first, he thought it was the wind, just the old pipes groaning or maybe something rattling loose. But then he stopped dead in his tracks because the sound wasn't random. It was steady, rhythmic. It sounded like someone crying. Ray froze in the middle of the hallway, just listening. It wasn't a loud cry, more like muffled sobs, soft and shaky, like somebody trying not to be heard. At first, he told himself, nope, not my problem, that wing's shut down, remember? But the longer he stood there, the clearer it got. Whoever it was, they sounded upset, lonely. So, against his better judgment, Ray started pushing his cart toward the girls' wing. Each step made the sound sharper, more distinct. He could almost picture someone curled up in the dark, hiding in one of those abandoned rooms. But that made no sense. There was no one assigned to that wing. The doors were supposed to be locked, and even if a student had snuck in, why would they? It was freezing in there, dusty, with half the ceiling tiles missing. Ray stopped right at the double doors that led to the wing. The sobbing had quieted now, just faint little hiccups of breath, but it was definitely coming from inside. He put his hand on the handle, cold, way colder than it should have been. And for a second, he hesitated, thinking, do I really want to open this, or do I just keep walking and pretend I never heard it? Ray takes a deep breath, pushes down the handle, and the door creaks open way too loudly. The crying cuts off instantly. Just silence. He steps inside anyway, pushing his cart slowly over the dusty floor. The air hits him immediately. It's colder in here, and it smells old, like wet concrete and peeling paint. The whole place feels wrong, like time doesn't move the same way past those doors. The hallway stretches ahead, lined with empty dorm rooms. Most of the doors are cracked open, some hanging off their hinges. A few old mattresses are stacked against the walls, and the fluorescent lights above flicker in uneven patterns, buzzing faintly like angry insects. Ray pauses, listening. Nothing. Just the buzz of the lights. He calls out softly, "Hello? Anyone in here?" His voice echoes down the hall and comes back to him warped, like it's bouncing off more than just the walls. Then, from somewhere deeper inside the wing, he hears it again. The sobbing, softer now but clearer, almost like the person's trying to lure him farther in. Ray swallows hard. every instinct screaming at him to turn around, close the doors, and walk away. But instead he grabs his flashlight, clicks it on, and starts down the hallway, the sound of his own footsteps mixing with those quiet, broken sobs pulling him deeper inside. Ray keeps the flashlight steady in one hand, the other gripping his cart like it's going to protect him from whatever's in here. The first room he passes has no door at all, just an empty frame. He shines the light inside, bare concrete floor, broken bed frame, scraps of old posters still taped to the walls. Dust everywhere. No sign of life. He moves to the next room, this one with the door hanging half open. The light catches a cracked mirror leaning against the wall, and for a split second, Ray swears he sees movement in it, like someone darting past behind him. He whips around. Nothing. Just the empty hallway stretching into the dark. The crying is louder now, though, definitely coming from deeper inside. It doesn't sound like a full-grown woman anymore. It sounds younger, like a girl. Ray's stomach knots up. A student? No, that's impossible. He reminds himself over and over, this wing is locked, sealed. No one's supposed to be here. Still, he pushes on, checking another room. This one has old mattresses stacked high, leaning against each other like someone had tried to block the window. His light flickers across the wall, and he notices something scratched into the paint. Deep grooves, like fingernails, had clawed across it again and again. That's when the crying cuts off. Dead silence. And in that silence, Ray realizes something that makes his skin crawl. The sound wasn't moving, it wasn't shifting from room to room, it was coming from right in front of him. Ray freezes, flashlight trembling in his hand. The crying isn't moving now, it's coming from just ahead. He shines the light into the room at the end of the hall, and what he sees makes him stop cold. There's a figure crouched in the corner, small, hunched, shaking, with long, dark hair hanging over its face. The sobbing is quiet, but urgent, like it could break his ears if he listens too long. Ray whispers, "Hey, are you okay? Can I help?" The figure doesn't respond, just keeps crying, rocking slightly, hair falling forward like a curtain between them. He steps closer, heart pounding, and notices the floor around it, all muddy footprints, even though no one should have been in this wing for months. Ray's pulse is racing. He wants to touch it, to comfort it, to say it's fine, but something in the air feels wrong, heavy, cold, wrong. Then the figure lifts its head, slowly, and Ray realizes there's no face there, just darkness, like someone pulled a shadow over its features. The crying stops immediately. Silence hits like a physical wall. Ray can't breathe, his flashlight flickers, and then, without warning, the figure darts toward the hallway, disappearing into the shadows before he can react. Ray stumbles backward, dropping the flashlight. It rolls, casting a spinning beam across the walls. Every shadow now seems alive, stretching, twisting. And he knows one thing for certain. This isn't just a prank, a student hiding, or a draft, whatever that thing is. It wasn't human. Ray scrambles to grab his flashlight and his cart, heart hammering so hard he's sure the echoes are chasing him down the hall. He bolts for the exit doors, but something feels different. The hallway seems longer, wider, darker, like the walls have shifted while he wasn't looking. His footsteps echo off the tiles in a weird, warped way, and the doors at the far end that should lead outside, they're gone. Ray stops dead, chest heaving, gripping the cart as if it can protect him. Every instinct is screaming, "Run, hide, don't look back." Then he hears it again. Soft, dragging footsteps behind him, slow and deliberate. Not human footsteps either, too heavy, too wrong. He spins around, nothing, empty hallway, just the shadows, stretching and twisting like they're alive. Ray shoves forward, trying another exit door, and it won't budge. He slams it, pulls, kicks. Nothing. The building feels like it's locking him in. Corridors twist in ways that shouldn't be possible, turns that don't lead anywhere. And the crying, it's back. Faint, almost playful this time. Coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. Ray realizes in that moment that he's trapped, not by walls or doors, but by something in the building, something patient, watching, and feeding off his fear. Ray moves down the hallway, trying to stay calm, but every step he takes feels wrong. The shadows cling to him, twisting and stretching like they have a life of their own. Then he hears it. Footsteps, not his own. Someone or something is moving behind him, matching his pace. He glances over his shoulder. Nothing, empty hallway, but the sound keeps coming, slow and deliberate. He tries to pick up speed, but it matches him, never faster, never slower. Every time he stops, it stops. Every time he turns, it seems to move with him in the dark. And the crying. It starts again. Low, soft, almost taunting, echoing off the walls, wrapping around him. It's coming from every direction, making it impossible to tell where the source is. Ray's chest tightens. He whispers to himself, "It's just a kid, it's just a student, it's nothing, calm down." But he knows it's not nothing. The air is thick, cold, pressing down on him, like the building itself is alive and aware of him. When he rounds a corner, he sees movement out of the corner of his eye. Something small, hunched, disappearing behind a doorway. Ray freezes, shining his flashlight. The room is empty. But he knows it was real. And that's when he realizes, whatever this is, it's following him, learning him, toying with him. Ray rounds another hallway and freezes. The room to his left, one of the old dorm rooms, has a chair in the middle of the floor. He knows it wasn't there a second ago. He steps closer, flashlight beam shaking, and the chair slowly rocks back and forth on its own. No breeze, no one inside, just moving. Ray swallows hard, whispering to himself, "This isn't real, it's just old building, just old building." But the voice in his head doesn't convince him. Then a stack of books on a nearby shelf slides to the floor, thudding softly. He flinches, shining the light around the room. Nothing else, just the chair, still rocking, and shadows that stretch like fingers along the walls. He tries to back away, but every step he takes, it feels like something brushes past him. Cold, heavy, too solid to be imagined. Ray realizes that this isn't just noises or shadows anymore. The place is interacting with him, responding, and the longer he stays, the bolder it gets. By the time he scrambles back into the hallway, every instinct screams at him he needs to get out. But the hallways are twisting again, doors disappearing, shadows stretching, keeping him trapped. Ray is moving down the hallway, heart hammering, flashlight barely cutting through the darkness. Every step echoes weirdly, stretching unnaturally, like the walls are alive and listening. Then he hears it, soft, deliberate footsteps right behind him. Not just random like before. These are calculated, matching his pace. He spins around. Nothing. Empty hallway. The crying starts again, faint at first, then louder, almost right in his ear. Ray can feel the air around him grow colder, heavier, like something is pressing down, following him, waiting for him to make a wrong move. He shoves forward, trying another exit door, but it won't open. No handle, just smooth metal where the door should be. Panic rises. He starts shouting, "Hello, who's there?" His own voice bounces back, warped and hollow. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he sees movement, shadows pooling, shifting unnaturally. Something small, hunched, darting from doorway to doorway, always just beyond reach. Ray realizes that whatever is in this building isn't just haunting the halls, it's studying him, learning him, and the closer he gets to escaping, the bolder it becomes. Ray rounds another corner, chest pounding, flashlight trembling in his hand. The hallway stretches endlessly in front of him, walls twisting in ways they shouldn't. Every instinct screams at him to turn around, but he can't. There's nowhere to go. Then he hears it, a soft, deliberate breath right behind him. He spins around, heart hammering, but there's nothing. Just the empty hallway and the flickering lights above. He steps forward, trying to keep calm, and that's when he sees it. A small, hunched figure at the far end of the hall. Its hair hangs in front of its face, blocking everything except for its eyes, and those eyes glow faintly in the flickering light. Ray freezes. The figure doesn't move, but he feels it watching him. Closer, closer. Every flicker of the lights brings it nearer. He whispers, "Who are you? What do you want?" No response. Just a slow shuffle forward, dragging its fingers along the lockers, leaving scratches in the paint. Ray backs up, tripping over his own cart. The figure stops. Silence. And then a single, soft sob. Right behind him, cold fingers brush past his shoulder, though nothing's there. Ray knows one thing for certain. This isn't a prank, and it isn't human. And if he wants to survive the night, he has to get out of that wing. Fast. Ray scrambles to his feet, heart racing, flashlight shaking in his hands. The hallway feels alive, twisting, closing in on him as if the building itself is moving around him. And then he hears it. Footsteps, not random ones, not echoing far away. They're deliberate, heavy, following him, matching his pace perfectly. He bolts down the hall, flashlight beam bouncing across cracked walls and broken doors. The crying is louder now, echoing in every direction at once, impossible to pinpoint. A door slams somewhere behind him. Another room's window rattles. The air around him feels thick, almost physical, like it's pressing against his chest, making it hard to breathe. Ray rounds a corner, trying to find an exit, and suddenly all the doors are gone, just walls where they should be. The shadows stretch longer, twisting toward him, reaching for him. Every instinct in him screams run, but there's nowhere to go. The building itself seems to be herding him, keeping him inside, and the sobbing, it's no longer soft, it's insistent, almost mocking, coming from everywhere, from nowhere. Ray realizes that whatever is in this dorm isn't just haunting him, it's hunting him, and it won't stop until it's had its fun. Ray rounds another hallway, heart hammering, flashlight cutting through the darkness. The crying is constant now, echoing from every direction. He's sweating, panicking, but trying to stay logical. Then he notices it, objects moving on their own. A chair slides across the floor, a stack of books tips over, and a locker door creaks open by itself. No wind, no draft, nothing that could explain it. Ray swallows hard and whispers, "This isn't real. It can't be real." But deep down, he knows it is. He shines the flashlight down another hallway and sees footprints in the dust. Small, hunched footprints. They weren't there before. And now they seem to appear in front of him, always just a few steps ahead. The air grows colder with every step. The shadows stretch unnaturally, twisting and curling toward him. And then he hears a soft, almost deliberate tap on the wall next to his head. Ray jumps, spins around. Nothing. Just dark hallway, silent except for the faint hum of the lights above. He realizes he's not just being followed anymore. Whatever is here is interacting with him, testing him, toying with him. And the longer he stays, the bolder it gets. Ray's heart is hammering so hard he can feel it in his throat. Every hallway looks the same now, endless, twisting with shadows that move just out of the corner of his eye. Then he hears it, footsteps, heavy, deliberate, right behind him. He spins around, but the hall is empty. The crying grows louder, almost right in his ear, making his head spin. He bolts forward, trying a door that should lead to the stairwell, but it won't open. The walls themselves feel like they're pressing in, reshaping, closing exits. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he sees movement. A small, hunched figure darting from room to room, always just beyond reach. The shadows stretch, elongate, reaching toward him, moving with an almost intentional purpose. Ray knows, whatever this thing is, it isn't just haunting the building. It's actively trying to trap him, learning his movements, predicting his next step. Panic surges. He whispers, "I have to get out. I have to get out." But the building itself seems to push back, twisting, stretching, and keeping him inside. The crying turns to a low, guttural whisper, surrounding him, wrapping around him, making it impossible to know which way is safe. Ray realizes he's not just lost in the wing. He's being hunted, cornered, and the thing waiting for him is getting bolder. Ray backs up, flashlight shaking so badly the beam flickers across the hallway. The shadows stretch toward him like fingers, and the sobbing has turned into a quiet, almost sinister laughter. Suddenly he feels it, a cold brush against his arm. Not a draft, not a branch or something falling. Solid, ice-cold, lingering, and deliberate. He spins around, nothing. Just empty hallway, walls stretching endlessly, flickering lights above. Then, another brush, this time on his neck. He can feel the weight of it, the pressure, like it's leaning into him without being seen. Ray's breath catches. He whispers, "Who are you? What do you want from me?" No answer, just the laughter and the faint sound of dragging footsteps circling him. He swings the flashlight wildly, trying to illuminate something, anything, but all he sees is darkness and the shadows curling tighter. The air feels heavier, harder to breathe, like the presence is pushing down on his chest. And then, just when he thinks he can't take it anymore, the laughter stops. Silence. But Ray knows. It's not gone. It's watching, waiting, learning, and he's running out of time. Ray's chest is pounding, legs trembling, flashlight shaking so badly he can barely see. The hallway seems endless, twisting and stretching with every step he takes. Every door he tries either disappears or won't budge. Then he hears it. A soft, deliberate breath, followed by a low, guttural whisper right behind him. He spins around, flashlight swinging wildly, and for the first time he sees it clearly. A small, hunched figure with hair hanging in front of its face. But when it lifts its head, its face is a black void, nothing, eyes glowing faintly, fixed on him. It takes a step forward, and the air grows ice-cold, pressing in on him. Ray stumbles backward, trips over his cart, and the figure moves faster, almost gliding toward him. The crying has turned into a scream that seems to echo inside his skull. With every ounce of strength, Ray lunges for the nearest exit door. This time, it opens. He bursts through into the stairwell, gasping, heart hammering, never looking back. The hallway behind him falls silent. He runs down the stairs, out into the cold night air, collapsing outside the dorm. Shaking, soaked in sweat, he knows one thing: he will never, ever go back inside that wing. Some nights, he still hears the whispers in his dream. Ray never worked nights in that dorm again. He quit the very next week, leaving his janitor cart and keys behind without a second thought. Some say it was just an overactive imagination, a spooky old building playing tricks. But Ray knows what he experienced that night. And honestly, if you ever hear crying or whispers in a building that's supposed to be empty, maybe don't investigate. Some things aren't just ghosts. They're patient. They watch. And sometimes they follow you home. All right, moving on. So this janitor, let's call him Sam, he worked nights at a medium-sized hospital. Most nights were boring, quiet. He'd push his cart down the halls, clean up, and maybe hear the distant beep of a monitor or the faint shuffle of a nurse passing by. But there was this one east wing. Newer wing, supposedly empty after midnight, all patient rooms cleared out for renovations. Sam hated walking that hallway. Even when it was empty, it felt wrong. Too silent, too still. One night, he's pushing his cart, doing his rounds, when he notices a door that should have been locked, swinging open, just barely, creaking softly with the movement of the air. Sam stops, stares at it. He tells himself it's probably just the HVAC draft, nothing to worry about. But he feels the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. He takes a cautious step closer. The light inside is dim, flickering. The air smells off, like antiseptic mixed with something metallic, almost coppery. His hand hovers near the door handle, and he hesitates. Sam whispers to himself, "Probably nothing. Just a maintenance thing, or just a draft." But deep down, he knows he's lying. Something isn't right. And then he hears it. A soft scraping sound coming from the far corner of the room. Slow, deliberate. Sam freezes, heart hammering, breath shallow. He knows he should turn around and leave, but curiosity, or maybe fear itself, keeps him rooted there. Sam steps slowly into the room, cart rattling behind him. The fluorescent lights flicker overhead, buzzing softly, casting uneven shadows that crawl across the walls. The room looks empty at first, beds stripped, machines unplugged, everything covered in dust. But then he notices something on the floor. Small footprints, wet footprints, leading from one corner of the room to the other. His stomach tightens. He tells himself it's impossible, no patients, no staff supposed to be here. And yet, the footprints are fresh. He shines his flashlight across the floor, noticing a shadow move in the corner of his eye. He spins. Nothing. Just the empty room, flickering lights, and the faint metallic smell in the air. Then he hears it, a soft scraping like fingernails along the wall. He freezes, flashlight shaking in his hand, and whispers, "Hello, who's there?" Silence. The sound starts again, this time from the far end of the hallway outside the room. It's slow, deliberate, almost testing him. Sam's heart races. He knows he's not alone. He debates leaving, telling himself it's just the building settling, but the air feels heavier now, colder, pressing against his chest. Something is in here with him. Sam's flashlight beam sweeps across the room again, trying to catch something, anything. That's when he notices it. One of the bed frames has shifted, not a little. Moved a good foot to the side, like something heavy had leaned against it. His pulse spikes. He mutters under his breath, No, it's just old equipment and just the floor settling." But even he doesn't believe it. Then the sound starts, a soft dragging, something moving along the floor just out of his light's reach. He freezes, listening. The footsteps, or whatever they are, stop suddenly. Then a faint whispering. Low, almost unintelligible, but unmistakably there. Sam shines the flashlight toward the sound. Nothing. Empty floor. Empty room. Then objects start shifting. A stack of trays clatters to the floor. A chair slides a few inches toward him. The temperature drops drastically, his breath fogging in the dim light. Sam's chest tightens. He takes a step back. Every instinct is screaming at him, "Get out now!" But he feels drawn in, like the room itself is pulling him toward the far corner, toward whatever is hiding in the shadows. And that's when he sees it, a dark shape, crouched, hunched over, just beyond the edge of his flashlight. It doesn't move, but he knows it's watching him. Sam's breathing is shallow, heart hammering like it's about to burst out of his chest. He shines the flashlight directly on the dark shape. It doesn't move, but the air around him feels alive, heavy, cold, pressing in on his chest. Then the whispering starts again, louder this time. It's not random, it's almost deliberate. A soft, twisted sort of cadence, like it's trying to get his attention. Sam's instincts scream at him to leave. He tries to back up, but his foot hits something, a chair rolling slowly toward him on its own. The room feels smaller now, walls closing in as shadows stretch unnaturally. The shape moves just slightly, shifting closer. He can feel a presence brushing against his arm, even though there's nothing visible there. His flashlight flickers, then more noises, soft scraping from the far wall, something tapping on the metal bed frame. He realizes it's interacting with him, testing him, watching him, toying with him. Sam whispers, "Who? What are you?" No answer, just the shifting shadows, the dragging noises, the cold pressing closer. He realizes with a sinking feeling that this isn't just a haunting. This thing is alive in some way, aware, and it's toying with him. Sam's heart is hammering so hard he's sure the walls can hear it. Every step he takes feels heavier, like the floor itself is resisting him. The whispers have grown louder, sharper now, echoing in every corner of the room. Shadows flicker violently with every flash of his light, stretching toward him, curling around his feet, reaching up the walls. Then he hears it. Footsteps. Not just one, but multiple, circling him, slow, deliberate, impossible to pinpoint. He spins, flashlight swinging wildly. Empty room. But the cold is real, pressing into him, brushing along his skin like icy fingers. A tray slides across the floor. A chair tips. Sam stumbles backward, heart racing, trying to get to the door. But the door isn't where it was. It's further down the hallway, distorted, like the building itself is bending. The figure moves now, not fast, but with purpose, coming closer with every flicker of the light. The whispers merge into a guttural, almost mocking laughter, circling him, wrapping around him, suffocating him. Sam's instincts scream at him to run. Every instinct tells him he's in real danger, and that's when he realizes this thing isn't just haunting the room, it's hunting him. Sam bolts for the door, heart racing, flashlight shaking. He swings it toward the hallway, praying for an exit, but the corridor stretches unnaturally, longer, darker, twisting in ways that shouldn't be possible. The whispers follow him, soft but insistent, wrapping around his head like a physical weight. Shadows slither along the walls, stretching toward him, elongating with every step. He tries another door, a stairwell, but it won't open. Smooth metal where the handle should be. Panic claws at him. Then he hears it, a soft, deliberate step behind him. He spins, but nothing's there. Just the empty hallway and the flickering lights overhead. Every instinct screams run, but the building itself seems alive, shifting and reshaping to keep him inside. The whispers grow louder, the dragging footsteps circling him, pressing closer. Sam realizes the terrifying truth. He isn't just lost, he's trapped. Not by walls or doors, but by something in the building. Something that's waiting, watching, and feeding off his fear. Sam moves down the hallway, heart hammering, flashlight bouncing across cracked walls and flickering lights. The whispers are all around him now, circling, impossible to locate. Then he hears it. Footsteps, not random ones, deliberate, slow, and matching his pace. He spins. Empty hallway. But the sound keeps coming, never stopping. He tries to speed up. The dragging noises mirror his steps, matching his every move. He rounds a corner and sees movement just out of the flashlight's reach. A dark, hunched figure darting from doorway to doorway, disappearing each time he looks directly at it. The shadows twist unnaturally, reaching toward him. His chest tightens, lungs burning. The room he just came from seems farther away, doors gone or moved. Sam realizes in that moment that whatever this is, it isn't just haunting him. It's studying him, learning him, toying with him. And it won't stop until it's satisfied. Sam rounds a corner, flashlight trembling in his hand. The hall seems endless, twisting, shadows curling along the walls. Then he notices something. The janitor cart he'd left behind just moments ago is now a few feet away, tilted as if someone or something had pushed it. A stack of trays on a counter rattles, sliding to the floor without any visible force. Sam flinches, flashlight beam swinging wildly. The cold presses in, stronger now, biting at his skin. He hears faint scraping, like fingernails against metal, from the far end of the hall. Another chair tips over slowly, making a soft crash. Sam whispers, "It's just the building. Old floors, just settle." But he knows he's lying. Every instinct screams that this is deliberate, targeted. The dragging footsteps circle him again. The shadows stretch toward him, responding to his movements, closing in like they're alive. Sam's panic spikes. He realizes the thing in the hospital isn't just a presence. It's interacting with him, testing him, feeding on his fear. Sam's heart is racing, every instinct screaming at him to run. The hallway stretches unnaturally, lights flickering, shadows twisting toward him like living fingers. Then he hears it, heavy, deliberate footsteps following him. Not random, not echoing, matching his pace perfectly. He spins, flashlight swinging, but the hall is empty. The whispers grow louder now, surrounding him, merging into a guttural, mocking sound that seems to come from everywhere at once. A chair tips over behind him, trays clatter across the floor. The temperature drops drastically, his breath fogging in the dim light. Sam rounds a corner, desperate for an exit, and realizes the door he thought would lead out isn't there. The walls have shifted. The corridor stretches impossibly, a maze of darkness designed to trap him. The figure appears at the far end, small, hunched, silent, watching. Shadows curl and stretch toward him. The whispers turn to laughter, low and sinister. Sam knows now this isn't just a haunting, it's hunting him. And there's no telling if he can escape. Sam rounds another hallway, heart hammering, flashlight beams swinging wildly. The shadows twist unnaturally, stretching along the walls, reaching toward him. Then he sees it, a small, hunched figure at the far end of the hall. Its hair hangs in front of its face, hiding everything except for faintly glowing eyes. They lock on him, unblinking. He freezes. The whispers intensify, surrounding him from all sides, wrapping around his chest like a weight. The figure moves closer, deliberate, gliding rather than walking. The floorboards don't creak, nothing makes a sound except the low, mocking laughter that echoes inside his skull. Sam's voice shakes as he whispers, "Who? What are you?" No answer, just the figure, shadows curling around it, the air icy and thick. A tray tips over behind him. He spins around, empty, heart racing, sweat dripping, breath short. When he turns back, the figure is closer. Sam realizes in that instant that this isn't just a presence haunting an empty wing. This thing is aware of him, following him, learning him, feeding on his fear. Sam bolts down the hall, heart pounding so hard it feels like it's going to burst through his chest. His flashlight flickers, casting jagged shadows that twist and stretch along the walls. Then he hears it. Footsteps, not distant, not random, but slow, deliberate, and following him. Every step he takes, the sound mirrors him perfectly. He spins around, empty hallway. The shadows flicker, twisting toward him. The laughter grows louder, surrounding him from all directions, making it impossible to tell which way is safe. A chair tips over, a stack of trays clatters. The dragging sounds circle him, moving closer with each heartbeat. Sam rounds a corner, looking for an exit, but the doors aren't where they should be. The hall stretches, bends, twisting in ways that make no sense. He realizes with sinking dread that this thing isn't just haunting him, it's hunting him. It knows him. It's learning him. And it won't stop until it's had its fill. Sam rounds another corner, heart hammering, flashlight beam bouncing wildly. The hallway seems to stretch endlessly, twisting like it's alive. Then it starts, objects moving on their own. Chairs slide across the floor, carts tip over, trays clatter, and a metal bed frame groans as if something heavy leans against it. The temperature drops sharply. Sam can see his breath fog in front of him, and the shadows stretch unnaturally, reaching toward him with almost intentional purpose. A soft scraping sound echoes from the far wall, like fingernails dragging across metal. The laughter returns, low and guttural, surrounding him from all sides. Sam whispers, "It's just the building. It's just old stuff. Calm down." But every instinct screams otherwise. The dragging footsteps circle him again, heavier this time, closer. The room, or hallway, feels alive, interacting with him, responding to his fear. He knows now this thing isn't just haunting the hospital, it's in control. And escaping won't be simple. Sam's heart is pounding so hard it feels like it's echoing through the walls. Every hallway looks the same, long, twisting shadows stretching unnaturally. Then he hears it, heavy, deliberate footsteps behind him, following his every move. He spins around, flashlight swinging wildly. Empty hallway, but the cold presses in, sharper, like icy fingers brushing along his skin. The whispers intensify, merging into guttural, mocking laughter that seems to come from all directions. The dragging of unseen feet circles him closer and closer. A chair tips over, a stack of trays clatters. The hall twists and bends, doors disappearing, walls reshaping to trap him. At the far end, the figure appears. Small, hunched, crouched, but the shadows around it curl like living things reaching for Sam. He realizes the terrifying truth. This isn't just a haunting. It's hunting him, learning his movements, predicting his next step, and he's running out of options. Sam's chest tightens, heart racing, flashlight beam shaking violently. The shadows crawl along the walls, twisting and curling toward him like fingers. Then he feels it, a cold brush across his arm. Not a draft, not a branch, solid, ice-cold, deliberate. He spins around, empty hallway, just shadows, flickering lights, and that metallic, antiseptic smell in the air. And then another brush, this time on his neck. Sam gasps, feeling weight and pressure, like the thing is leaning into him without being seen. The laughter grows, low and sinister, surrounding him. Whispering merges with dragging footsteps circling him, pressing closer. He shines the flashlight wildly, trying to see it. The figure is there, hunched, indistinct in the darkness, eyes faintly glowing. Sam whispers, shaking, "Who? What are you?" No answer. Just the icy presence and shadows curling tighter around him, pressing in. He knows now he can't ignore it. He's being hunted, and the thing won't stop until it's satisfied. Sam's legs are trembling, chest burning, flashlight flickering so badly he can barely see. The hallway stretches endlessly, twisting, shadows curling toward him like living fingers. Then he sees it, a small, hunched figure with faintly glowing eyes, crouched at the far end of the hall. Shadows around it twist and curl, almost alive. The laughter surrounds him now, low, guttural, and mocking. Every instinct screams run. He lunges for the nearest exit door. This time it opens. He bursts into the stairwell, heart hammering, lungs burning. The laughter and whispers stop suddenly. Silence, just the cold air of the stairwell. Sam runs down the stairs, out into the night, collapsing outside the hospital. He's soaked in sweat, trembling, and he knows one thing. He will never, ever work the night shift in that wing again. Even now, he says, some nights he can still hear the whispers in his dreams, and he swears that thing is still watching, still waiting. Sam quit the night shift the very next week. He left the cart, the keys, the entire East Wing behind without looking back. People might say it was just imagination, the old building playing tricks. But Sam knows what he experienced that night wasn't normal. And honestly, if you ever hear dragging footsteps, whispers, or laughter in a supposedly empty hospital wing, maybe don't investigate. Some things aren't just ghosts. They're patient. They watch. And sometimes they wait for the perfect moment to follow you home. All right, moving on. So this janitor, let's call him Mike, he worked nights at an old high school. Most nights were boring, quiet. He'd sweep the floors, empty trash, maybe check a few classrooms. Nothing exciting, nothing scary, usually. But the gym, man, that place was different. Empty after hours, with those high ceilings and echoing hardwood floors. The fluorescent lights always flickered a little, casting weird shadows on the walls. One night, Mike is finishing his rounds. He's walking past the gym when he hears it, soft whispers. Faint at first, almost indistinguishable, but definitely coming from the gym. He stops, stares at the closed doors, tells himself, probably the wind, old building, just my imagination. But that gut feeling hits him. You know the one, the hair on your neck, standing up, stomach twisting in knots. He takes a cautious step toward the doors. The whispers grow slightly louder, almost deliberate, not random, not like a prank, like someone or something is trying to get his attention. Mike hesitates, flashlight hovering in front of him. He whispers, "Hello, is someone there?" Nothing. Silence, just the faint smell of dust and old gym mats. But then he hears it again, whispering, soft, insistent, coming from just inside the gym. Mike takes a deep breath, trying to steady himself, and slowly pushes the gym doors open. They creak loudly, echoing through the empty space like a warning. The fluorescent lights overhead flicker violently, casting uneven pools of light across the polished hardwood floor. At first, it looks empty. Just rows of bleachers, a basketball hoop, and dust settling in the corners. But then Mike notices something strange, the faintest footprints on the floor. Tiny, wet, leading from the far corner of the gym toward the middle. He freezes. No way, no one's supposed to be here. His voice barely rises above a whisper. The whispers start again, low, almost unintelligible, but he can feel them, surrounding him, brushing along his ears. He swings the flashlight around, trying to catch something, anyone, but it's empty. Then the gym bleachers creak, slowly, deliberately, like someone or something is shifting its weight. Mike jumps, heart hammering, flashlight shaking. He tells himself, it's just the old building. Just settling? Relax? But his gut says otherwise. The air is colder now, heavier, pressing against his chest. A basketball rolls across the floor. Not a little nudge, it moves on its own, rolling straight toward him, stopping just a few feet from his foot. Mike swears he hears a soft, almost mocking chuckle echoing in the gym. He shines the flashlight toward the far corner. Shadows pool there, unnaturally dark, curling toward him like tendrils. The whispers grow louder, circling him now, merging into a strange, low hum. Mike realizes that something isn't just in the gym. It's aware of him. And whatever it is, it doesn't want to be ignored. Mike's hands are trembling, flashlight swinging as he takes a cautious step further into the gym. The floorboards creak under his weight, each sound amplified in the silence. Then it begins. Objects start moving on their own. A stack of chairs tips over, clattering loudly against the floor. A basketball bounces once, then rolls slowly across the gym toward him. Mike jumps back, heart pounding, flashlight beam swinging wildly. He whispers to himself, "It's just the building, just old equipment." But he knows he's lying. The bleachers creak again, but now it's different. Slow, deliberate, like someone or something is climbing them. Shadows stretch unnaturally along the wall, twisting toward him. A cold draft brushes against his neck, and he shivers violently. The whispers are louder now, circling him, impossible to pinpoint. He can feel a presence pressing in, heavy and deliberate, almost tangible. Mike tries to back away toward the doors, but the gym feels larger, the exits farther than they should be. Every instinct screams at him, "Get out now!" Then the laughter starts, low, guttural, mocking, echoing off the walls. Mike spins around, flashlight shaking, and sees nothing, but the shadows seem alive, curling toward him, testing him. He realizes with a sinking feeling that this isn't just an empty gym. It's aware of him, and it's enjoying his fear. Mike's breathing is shallow, heart hammering like a drum. Every instinct is screaming at him to leave, but the gym feels wrong. Larger than it should be, shadows crawling along the walls, stretching unnaturally toward him. Then he hears it, a soft, deliberate footstep. Another, matching his pace. He spins, flashlight swinging wildly. Empty gym. Bleachers, basketballs, dust, but nothing human. He starts moving faster, but the sound mirrors him, keeping pace, circling him from all directions. A basketball rolls past his foot, chairs scrape against the floor. Something whispers his name, soft, guttural, impossible to pinpoint. Mike's heart is in his throat. He rounds a corner, hoping for the doors, but they seem farther than before, like the gym itself is stretching. The shadows shift, curling and twisting like living fingers, blocking his path, guiding him deeper inside. A stack of bleachers groans, moving slightly as if something invisible is climbing them. Mike's flashlight flickers, and in that split second, he sees movement out of the corner of his eye, a hunched, small figure darting behind the bleachers, disappearing whenever he looks directly. The whispers grow louder, merging into low, mocking laughter. Mike realizes with dread this isn't random. This thing is studying him, learning him, toying with him. Every move he makes it predicts, every step it mirrors. The gym isn't just haunted anymore, it's alive. And Mike is the prey. Mike's flashlight shakes so badly he can barely see. The shadows stretch along the gym walls, curling like fingers, moving independently. The floor seems alive, creaking and groaning under invisible weight. Then it starts, objects moving on their own. Chairs topple violently, clattering across the floor. A basketball rolls straight toward him, then stops abruptly, almost as if it's waiting for him to react. The bleachers shift slightly, groaning like something heavy is climbing inside them. The air grows colder, biting at his skin, making his breath fog in the dim light. The whispers are everywhere now, circling him, unintelligible but deliberate. Then the laughter returns, low, mocking, echoing off the gym walls, bouncing around him from all directions. Mike's heart races. He steps back, only to stumble over a chair that wasn't there a second ago. The doors that should lead out of the gym seem farther away now, distorted, like the room itself is reshaping to trap him. A shadow stretches across the floor, moving faster than it should, cutting off his path. Mike realizes that every instinct screaming at him to run is being used against him. The building, the shadows, the objects, they're all working together, herding him deeper into the gym. He whispers, "This isn't real, this can't be real." But deep down he knows it is, and whatever this is, it's alive, aware, and feeding on his fear. Mike's heart is hammering so hard, it feels like it might burst through his chest. Every shadow in the gym seems alive now, stretching toward him, twisting along the walls and ceiling. Then he hears it. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, following him. Every step he takes, the sound mirrors him perfectly. He spins, flashlight shaking, but the gym looks empty. A chair tips over behind him. A basketball rolls, stopping just a few feet from his foot. The laughter grows louder, low and guttural, echoing in every corner of the gym. Mike starts running toward the doors, but they seem to shift farther away with every step. The shadows move with him, curling around his legs, brushing his skin like icy fingers. The bleachers groan, moving as if something is climbing them, unseen. The whispers now surround him, pressing into his mind, echoing, taunting, calling his name softly but insistently. Mike's panic spikes. He realizes with a sinking dread, the gym isn't just haunted, it's alive. It's aware of him, and it's closing in, testing him, feeding on every ounce of fear he feels. He scrambles, flashlight bouncing across the floor, trying to find any way out, but the gym twists and shifts in ways that make no sense. The shadows are closer now, tangible, almost pressing against him. Mike knows one thing with absolute certainty. If he doesn't find a way out fast, this night in the empty gym might not end the way he hopes. Mike's chest is tight, heart pounding so fast it feels like it's echoing off the gym walls. The shadows stretch along the floors and ceiling, moving with a life of their own. Then it happens, the first direct contact. A chair tips violently toward him, nearly hitting his leg. He stumbles back, flashlight swinging, and a cold, icy pressure brushes across his arm. The whispers escalate, louder now, almost forming words, though he can't make them out. The laughter returns, sinister, mocking, bouncing off the walls, surrounding him completely. A basketball rolls again, this time spinning in place, as if guided by invisible hands. The bleachers groan, moving more aggressively, shaking the floorboards. Mike flinches as he feels a cold nudge against his back, pushing him forward. He spins around, flashlight beams swinging frantically, and catches a glimpse of the figure, small, hunched, almost blending into the shadows, but its eyes faintly glow. The darkness around it seems alive, curling and stretching toward him. Mike's fear spikes. He whispers, I just want to leave." The shadows respond, tightening, moving with intent, blocking his path. The gym has become an entity itself, every object, every shadow working together to trap him. The whispers swirl, circling him now like a predator closing in. Mike realizes this isn't just fear playing tricks on him. This presence isn't passive. It's actively hunting, testing, and tormenting him. Every instinct tells him to run, but there's nowhere to go. The gym has become a labyrinth, alive and malevolent, and Mike is caught in its grasp. Mike's breathing is ragged, heart hammering, like it might explode. The gym feels alive now, each shadow twisting, stretching, reaching toward him with deliberate intent. The fluorescent lights flicker violently, making the shadows leap across walls and floors. The floorboards groan, creak, and shift as if the building itself is moving. Chairs tip over, a stack of bleachers groans, and basketballs roll without cause, cutting off his path. Then the whispers start again, low, urgent, circling his head. Mike realizes he can't tell where they're coming from. They're everywhere, bouncing, overlapping, forming an almost coherent rhythm that mirrors his panicked heartbeat. He tries to run toward the doors, but the doors aren't where they were. The walls bend, twist, stretching the hallways into impossible angles. Every exit seems to move further away as he approaches. The figure appears again, hunched and small, blending into the shadows. But now it's closer. The darkness around it pulses, stretching like liquid, creeping along the floor toward him. Mike's pulse races, objects start moving aggressively. A chair tips over, scraping across the floor. A basketball rolls, stopping just short of his foot. The bleachers groan as if something invisible is climbing them. The gym feels like it's breathing, alive, conscious. Every instinct in Mike's body screams run, but the environment itself is working against him, manipulating reality, keeping him trapped in a nightmare that won't end. And through it all, the whispers and laughter intensify, echoing in every corner, pressing into his mind, feeding his terror. Mike realizes he isn't just being haunted, he's being hunted, and the gym itself is part of the predator. Mike's legs are shaking uncontrollably now. Every step feels heavier, the gym stretching unnaturally, doors vanishing, walls twisting. Shadows curl around him, reaching, wrapping closer with every heartbeat. Then he hears it. Footsteps behind him. Not random, not echoing, but deliberate, pacing him, circling him, almost mocking. He spins, flashlight swinging wildly. Empty gym. Empty, not really. Something is there. A chair tips over violently, scraping across the floor. The bleachers groan as if invisible weight climbs them. The temperature drops sharply, biting at his skin. His breath fogs in the cold, and the whispers intensify, merging with low, guttural laughter. Mike runs toward the exit, or where he thinks the exit should be. The gym stretches farther than it should, corners appearing and disappearing. Shadows block his path, pooling like liquid across the floor. Then he sees it, small, hunched, crouched at the far end of the gym. The darkness around it pulsates, almost alive, curling toward him. Its eyes faintly glow, fixed on him, unblinking. Mike's panic spikes. The whispers swirl around his head, pressing into his mind, calling his name softly, insidiously. He realizes with sickening clarity that this thing isn't just haunting him, it's actively hunting, herding him, driving him toward a corner of the gym with no way out. Every instinct tells him to fight, to run, to escape, but the building itself conspires against him. The gym isn't just a place anymore, it's a predator. And Mike is trapped in its jaws. Mike's chest is tight, heart racing, flashlight shaking violently in his trembling hands. The shadows stretch along the floor and walls, moving independently, twisting like living things. Then it happens. A chair tips violently toward him, nearly knocking him off his feet. He stumbles back, heart hammering, flashlight beams swinging wildly. A cold pressure brushes along his arm, icy and deliberate, sending a shiver down his spine. He spins, flashlight sweeping the gym, but there's nothing there. The whispers escalate, circling him now, low and guttural, almost forming words, but impossible to understand. The laughter returns, sinister and mocking, bouncing off the walls, surrounding him completely. Basketballs roll again, moving as if guided by invisible hands. Bleachers groan and shift aggressively, as though something unseen is climbing them. Mike flinches as a cold nudge hits his back, pushing him forward. He catches a glimpse of the figure, small, hunched, blending with shadows, but its faintly glowing eyes fix on him. The darkness around it pulses, curling like fingers reaching for him. Mike's panic spikes. "I just want to leave," he whispers. But the shadows tighten, blocking every path, the gym itself now a living trap. Every object, every corner, every sound conspires against him. Mike realizes with sickening clarity that this isn't just fear or imagination. This presence is alive, aware, and actively tormenting him. and escape seems almost impossible. Mike's legs are trembling so badly he can barely keep his balance. Every hallway, every shadow seems alive, stretching, twisting, reaching for him. The gym has become a labyrinth, impossible to navigate. The footsteps start again, slow, deliberate, circling him. Every move he makes, the sounds mirror him perfectly, echoing from every direction. He spins, flashlight swinging, but the gym appears empty. Until the shadows shift and twist like liquid. Chairs topple, a basketball rolls aggressively toward him, bleachers groan as if something heavy climbs them, unseen. The air grows colder, sharper, biting at his skin, pressing into his chest with unbearable weight. The whispers intensify, low, urgent, merging with mocking laughter that surrounds him completely. Mike realizes that the building itself is participating, actively herding him, feeding on every ounce of fear he feels. He tries to run toward the doors, but the exits move farther away, distorted. Walls bend, ceilings stretch, corners appear and disappear. Every instinct tells him to escape, but the gym itself won't let him. The hunched figure appears again, closer this time. Shadows around it pulse and stretch, reaching toward Mike. He can feel it pressing in, almost tangible, feeding on his panic. Mike's heart races, lungs burning. He's not just being haunted anymore, he's being hunted. And the predator is patient, intelligent, and relentless. Mike's breathing is ragged, his legs shaking with exhaustion and fear. The gym feels alive now, each shadow curling, twisting, moving with deliberate intent. Objects start moving aggressively. Chairs topple violently, scraping across the floor. Basketballs roll toward him, stopping just short of his feet, almost as if they're daring him to move the wrong way. The bleachers groan under invisible weight, shifting and creaking as if something is climbing inside them. The air grows colder, heavier, pressing against his chest. Mike's breath fogs in front of him, every exhale visible in the icy darkness. The whispers have become almost deafening, circling his head, impossible to locate, merging with guttural, mocking laughter that echoes off the walls. Mike tries to reach the doors, but the exits are gone, replaced by walls that weren't there a moment ago. Hallways twist, corners bend, the gym reshaping itself like a living trap. The hunched figure appears again, small, crouched, eyes glowing faintly. The darkness around it pulses, curling like tendrils that stretch toward Mike, blocking every path, herding him further inside. Mike realizes with a sinking, paralyzing dread that this isn't just a haunting, it's in control. The gym itself is an extension of the entity, every object, every shadow working together to trap him. Every instinct tells him to flee, but escape seems impossible. The building, the shadows, the whispers, they're all aware of him. Watching him, hunting him, and the worst part, he knows it isn't done yet. Mike's heart is racing so fast it feels like it might burst. Shadows crawl along the walls and floor, twisting, curling, moving with a life of their own. Every instinct screams at him to run, but the exits are gone, vanished, replaced by walls and shifting corners. Then it happens. Something brushes against his arm, icy, solid, deliberate. Mike jerks back, flashlight swinging wildly, but the gym looks empty. A chair tips over violently behind him. A basketball rolls aggressively toward his feet, stopping just short. He jumps back, heart pounding, and feels it again, a cold nudge, this time against his back, pushing him forward. The whispers grow louder, circling his head, forming low, guttural murmurs he can't understand, but instinctively knows are mocking him. The laughter returns, echoing in every corner of the gym, pressing against his ears, his chest, his mind. Mike spins and sees it, the figure, small, hunched, blending with the shadows. Its faintly glowing eyes lock on him, and the darkness around it pulses, stretching like tendrils toward him. Every object in the gym seems to react. Chairs tip, basketballs roll, bleachers groan, as if the entire building is alive and working against him. Mike realizes with paralyzing dread that this presence isn't just haunting him, it's interacting, testing him, tormenting him, and there's no ignoring it. His panic spikes. He whispers, "I just want to leave." The shadows tighten, curling around him, blocking every path. Mike knows that if he doesn't find a way out, this night in the gym might consume him entirely. Mike's chest is tight, legs trembling, flashlight swinging uncontrollably. The gym feels alive, each shadow stretching, curling, moving with intent. Every corner, every object, every whisper seems designed to trap him. The chairs topple violently across the floor, basketballs roll unpredictably, and the bleachers groan under invisible weight, shaking as if something is climbing them. The air grows colder, sharper, pressing against him like icy fingers. The whispers and laughter merge into a chaotic roar, surrounding Mike completely, pressing into his mind, making it nearly impossible to think. He staggers backward, trying to find the doors, but the exits are gone, replaced by walls that bend and twist. The figure appears again, hunched and small, blending perfectly into the shadows. The darkness around it pulses and stretches, curling like living tendrils, pressing toward Mike, herding him deeper into the gym. The gym itself seems alive now, every sound, every movement reacting to his fear. Floorboards creak under invisible footsteps, shadows shift with unnatural speed, and the entire space warps around him, closing off every escape. Mike realizes the terrifying truth. This presence isn't just haunting, it's dominating, controlling, and feeding on his fear. Every instinct screams run, fight, escape, but the environment conspires against him at every step. And through it all, the laughter grows louder, more guttural, more deliberate. Mike knows he's running out of time. The gym isn't just a building anymore, it's a trap, and he's its prey. Mike's legs are trembling, chest burning, flashlights swinging wildly. The gym has become a living nightmare, shadows curling and twisting, objects moving on their own, every step he takes mirrored by invisible footsteps. The figure is closer now, hunched, small, blending perfectly into the darkness, eyes faintly glowing, watching him. The whispers swirl around his head, forming a low, mocking chorus that presses into his mind. He bolts toward where he hopes the exit should be. The gym twists, walls bending, corners reshaping, chairs topple, basketballs roll aggressively, bleachers groan and shift as if climbing invisible stairs. The air is icy, each breath a cloud of fog, pressing him down, making movement difficult. Mike's heart is pounding, lungs burning, but he keeps running. He stumbles, catching himself on a bleacher, flashlight clattering to the floor. The figure seems to flow toward him through the shadows, every movement deliberate, precise, feeding on his fear. In a desperate gamble, Mike dives through a doorway he barely recognizes. It leads to a storage closet. He slams the door behind him, pressing against it, gasping for breath. The whispers fade slightly, but he can still feel the presence pressing just outside, waiting, patient, relentless. Mike collapses to the floor, shaking uncontrollably. He knows one thing for sure: he will never work the graveyard shift in that school again. And even now, years later, he swears he can still hear whispers and footsteps in empty gyms, always watching, always waiting. Mike never went back to that school at night. He left the keys, the mop, the entire gym behind without a second thought. People might call it imagination or old building noises, but Mike knows the truth. Some places aren't just empty, they're alive, they watch, they test, and if you're unlucky, they decide your prey. So if you ever find yourself alone in an empty gym, and you hear whispers, footsteps, or laughter echoing around you, maybe just leave. Don't test it. All right, moving on to the final story. This one's about an office janitor, let's call him Jake, working the overnight shift at a corporate office building. You know the type: quiet, sterile hallways, fluorescent lights humming above, the faint smell of cleaning chemicals lingering in the air. Most nights are uneventful: sweep floors, empty trash, check the restrooms. But one night, Jake starts noticing things moving slightly out of place. Papers shifted, chairs not where he left them. At first, he thinks it's just carelessness from employees, but then he hears it. Soft footsteps, slow, deliberate, echoing through empty hallways. Jake freezes. No one should be here. He tells himself it's probably the building settling, but the hairs on his neck stand up. Something isn't right. Jake keeps his flashlight in one hand, mop in the other, trying to shake off the uneasy feeling crawling up his spine. The office is silent, except for the faint hum of fluorescent lights and the soft squeak of his shoes against the polished floors. Then he notices it. Papers on a desk slightly shifted, chairs nudged out of place. Weird. Nobody's supposed to be here, he mutters. He bends down, straightens the papers, and walks on, trying to convince himself it's just a coincidence. But then he hears it, a soft shuffle echoing just beyond the cubicles, slow, deliberate, matching his steps. Jake freezes, flashlight sweeping the area. Empty cubicles, empty chairs, nothing, just shadows stretching unnaturally across the carpeted floor. He whispers to himself, it's nothing, just my imagination. Maybe the air vent. But the sound grows closer. Soft, dragging steps, circling him, coming from all directions at once. Then the flicker of a monitor catches his eye. The screen wasn't on before. Now it glows faintly, displaying static, as if someone, or something, is watching. The hairs on Jake's arms stand on end. A chair slowly swivels on its own, squeaking loudly as it turns toward him. Jake jumps back, flashlight beam trembling. Every instinct tells him to run, but the hallway seems longer, darker, almost trapping him. He realizes with a chill that this isn't just a trick of the lights or his imagination. Something is here, moving through the office with purpose, testing him, studying him. And it doesn't like being ignored. Jake's heart is hammering, every nerve on edge. The fluorescent lights flicker overhead, casting long, twitching shadows across the empty office. The hum of the AC seems louder, more oppressive, filling the silence with a constant, unsettling vibration. Then it starts, small things at first. A pen rolls across a desk by itself. A coffee mug tips over, spilling liquid in slow motion, as if guided by invisible hands. Jake takes a cautious step back. His flashlight trembles in his hands. He whispers, "It's just the building, it's nothing." But he knows he's lying. Something is deliberately moving, deliberately unsettling him. A chair swivels on its own, scraping across the floor with a sharp, grating sound. Papers flutter as if caught in a sudden breeze, but the air is still. A stack of folders topples over in a controlled, precise way, spreading across the floor like a warning. Then the whispers begin. Low, soft at first, circling him, echoing off the cubicle walls. Almost unintelligible, but Jake senses the malice behind them. It's aware of him, watching him. The shadows grow darker, stretching unnaturally across the floor. Every instinct screams to leave, but the exit seems farther away now, warped somehow, like the building itself is shifting. Jake realizes with a chill that this isn't random. This presence is testing him, feeding on his fear, manipulating the environment to make him feel trapped. A computer screen flickers on, showing static. Then, just for a split second, Jake thinks he sees a figure hunched in the darkness behind the cubicles. He blinks. It's gone. The office, once mundane and sterile, now feels alive, hostile, and focused entirely on him. Every sound, every movement, every shadow conspires to make him panic. Jake swallows hard, gripping his flashlight tighter, and whispers to himself, "Okay, okay. Just keep moving. Don't let it see you." Jake's flashlight flickers as he cautiously moves down the long, dim hallway of cubicles. The hum of the fluorescent lights is almost deafening, each flicker making shadows leap unnaturally along the walls. Then he hears it, soft, deliberate footsteps echoing behind him, slow, pacing, matching his own movements. He spins, flashlight swinging, but the office looks empty. Empty? Not really. Shadows twist and curl like living things pressing toward him, shifting with an almost sentient awareness. A chair tips over violently behind him. Jake jumps, flashlight beam bouncing across the floor, catching glimpses of shadows that weren't there a second ago. Papers flutter in the air, as if pushed by invisible hands. He whispers, "It's just the building, just my imagination." But the feeling in his gut tells him otherwise. Something is here, moving with intent, hunting him, testing him. The footsteps grow louder, closer, echoing in every hallway. The air grows colder, heavier, pressing down on him like a physical weight. The whispers start again, low, guttural, circling his head, indistinct words dripping with malice. A monitor flickers on, showing static. In the corner of the screen, Jake thinks he sees movement, something crouched, hunched, watching him. When he looks directly, it's gone, but the shadows stretching from the cubicles seem darker, more deliberate, almost following him. Every instinct tells him to run, but the office is no longer predictable. Hallways stretch, corners shift, exits vanish or move farther away. Jake realizes the building itself is working against him, every object, every shadow acting as extensions of this presence. He swallows hard, gripping his flashlight tighter, whispering, "Just keep moving. Don't stop. Don't let it corner you." The presence isn't just haunting the office anymore, it's stalking him, learning him, shaping the environment to trap him completely. Jake's legs are shaking, every nerve on edge. The office, once mundane and sterile, now feels alive and hostile. Shadows stretch unnaturally along the walls, twisting toward him. Every sound, fluorescent hum, squeak of a chair, soft tap of footsteps, makes him jump. Then it escalates. Chairs tip violently, scraping across the floor. Papers fly from desks, hitting him like cold, dry snow. A stack of folders topples, spreading across his path, forcing him to dodge. Every movement he makes seems anticipated, mirrored, controlled. The fluorescent lights flicker, plunging him into sudden darkness, only to illuminate again moments later, revealing shadows in positions that make no sense. Corners stretch, hallways twist, exits vanish, replaced by walls that weren't there before. The whispers intensify, low and guttural, circling his head, impossible to locate, taunting him, echoing his own name. Laughter joins in, sinister, mocking, bouncing off the walls, pressing into his ears, his chest, his mind. A monitor flickers on, showing static. For a split second, Jake sees a hunched figure crouched in the corner of the office, eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. He blinks. It's gone. But the shadows moving across the cubicles suggest it's still there, watching, waiting. The air grows colder, sharper, pressing on his chest. Every instinct screams to escape, but the building itself refuses. It twists and shifts, trapping him deeper inside. Jake realizes with a sinking, paralyzing dread that he is completely at the mercy of this presence. He whispers, "I just need to get out. I can't stay here." But the whispers laugh in response, circling him like a predator surrounding its prey. Jake's panic spikes. He knows the office is no longer just a building. It's alive, aware, and feeding on his fear, and if he doesn't act fast, it will claim him completely. Jake's chest feels like it's going to burst. The fluorescent lights flicker erratically, casting long, twitching shadows that twist and reach toward him. The air is icy now, pressing against his skin, making each breath sharp and painful. Then he hears it. Something moving right behind him. Not random, not echoing, deliberate, slow, calculated. He spins, flashlight trembling in his hands, but the office looks empty. Empty? Not quite. Shadows curl unnaturally around the cubicles, shifting closer, moving like living tendrils. A chair tips violently toward him. He jumps back, flashlight bouncing across the floor. The cold pressure hits his arm again, solid and real, and a whisper echoes directly into his ear. You shouldn't be here. Papers fly from desks, hitting him in the face. A monitor flickers, showing static, then a faint, hunched figure crouched in the corner, glowing eyes locking on him. Jake blinks and it's gone, but he knows it's still there in the shadows, watching, stalking, circling. The laughter grows louder, mocking, echoing from every direction. Footsteps match his pace, circling him, impossible to track. The hallway he thought led to the exit has stretched, twisted, and now seems farther away. Every instinct screams to run, but the office resists, guiding him toward corners that trap him further. Jake's heart races. His hands shake violently, gripping the flashlight like a lifeline. He whispers, "I just need to get out. Please." The whispers laugh in response, pressing into his mind, making him feel smaller, weaker, trapped. Then the figure moves closer, or maybe it's the shadows themselves. He can feel a presence pressing, almost tangible, guiding him deeper into the maze of cubicles. The office is no longer just haunted, it's alive, malevolent, and now directly confronting him. Jake knows he's running out of time. Every second counts, and if he hesitates, he fears there might be no escape. Jake's legs are trembling so badly he can barely stand. The fluorescent lights flicker violently, casting jagged, twitching shadows across the cubicles. Every sound, the hum of the AC, the squeak of a chair, even the soft shuffle of paper, makes him flinch. Then it happens. Objects start moving violently. Chairs tip and scrape the floor. Papers fly like razor-sharp sheets, and a stack of folders topples, blocking his path. The whispers swirl around him, low, guttural, circling his head, echoing his own name in a mocking rhythm. A monitor flickers on, showing static, and in the corner, just for a heartbeat, Jake sees a hunched figure watching him. He blinks. It's gone. But the shadows stretching across the office tell him it's still there, waiting, stalking. The hallways warp. Corners bend. Exits vanish. The office isn't just haunted, it's alive, reshaping itself to trap him. Every instinct screams run, but the building seems to anticipate his moves, herding him deeper into the maze. Jake hears footsteps behind him, matching his pace perfectly. He spins, flashlight swinging wildly. Shadows twist and curl like fingers, pressing against him, herding him toward a dead end. The cold pressure intensifies, biting at his skin, making his chest feel like it's being squeezed. The whispers grow into a chorus, overlapping with sinister laughter. Jake's panic spikes. His hands shake violently. His flashlight wavers. He stumbles, almost falls, and feels a cold, solid nudge against his back. Jake realizes with sinking dread the office itself is attacking, not just haunted, alive, aware, and feeding on his fear. He's running out of options, and the presence is relentless, patient, and merciless. Jake's breathing is ragged, each step a struggle. The fluorescent lights flicker violently, shadows twisting along the walls and cubicles like living tendrils. The office once sterile and familiar, has become a predator, every corner and object conspiring against him. Papers flutter from desks, slapping his face. Chairs topple violently, scraping across the floor. Folders cascade down hallways, blocking paths, forcing him to twist and turn through a maze that seems to grow more complex with every move he makes. The whispers grow louder, forming a mocking, overlapping chorus that presses directly into his mind. Laughter bounces off walls, metallic, guttural, echoing from all directions. Jake spins his flashlight wildly, trying to catch a glimpse of the figure that seems to stalk him. But the shadows shift, blending, teasing him with glimpses that vanish the moment he focuses. The hallways warp unnaturally. Corners bend, doors vanish, exits stretch farther away. The building itself is alive, reshaping itself to trap him deeper inside. Every instinct screams to run, but every path leads him back toward the center, where the presence is strongest. Jake's chest burns, his legs shake uncontrollably. Every sound, the scrape of a chair, the thump of a basketball rolling from who knows where, the soft drag of footsteps, pushes him closer to panic. He whispers to himself, "I need to get out. I just need to get out." But the office resists, alive and aware. The shadows curl tighter, moving with intention. The air grows heavier, colder, pressing against his body like icy hands. Jake feels trapped in a nightmare that's real, tangible, and utterly relentless. He realizes with chilling clarity that this night isn't going to end easily. The building, the shadows, the whispers, they're all working together, feeding on his fear, and he has nowhere safe to run. Jake's legs are trembling violently, his chest tight, each breath shallow and desperate. The office has become a maze, twisting and shifting as if it has a mind of its own. Shadows stretch unnaturally, curling along the walls, across the floors, pressing in from every angle. The footsteps behind him grow louder, deliberate, matching his pace, echoing his every move. He spins, flashlight beam shaking, but the office appears empty. Only the shadows respond, stretching and twisting like living tendrils. A chair tips violently behind him. Papers fly from desks, colliding in midair. Folders tumble across the floor, forming obstacles that force him to backtrack. Every movement he makes seems anticipated, blocked, herded into the center of the office. The whispers intensify, low and guttural, almost forming words. The laughter joins in, bouncing from every corner, echoing in a way that disorients him. The fluorescent lights flicker, casting the shadows into impossible angles. Jake staggers, flashlight trembling, realizing he's being guided, no, trapped. The hunched figure appears briefly in the shadows, a fleeting glimpse of glowing eyes. When he blinks, it's gone, but Jake knows it's still there, circling him, stalking him, relentless. The hallways warp even further. Doors vanish or appear in impossible places. Every instinct screams to flee, but the exits keep moving away, leading him deeper into the labyrinth. Jake swallows hard, gripping his flashlight like a lifeline. The office isn't just haunted anymore. It's alive, aware, hunting him, and he's completely cornered. Every sound, every movement, every shadow is designed to keep him trapped, feeding on his fear, tightening the walls around him. Jake's heart is hammering, every muscle tense, flashlight beam wobbling as he moves. Shadows twist along the walls and cubicles, reaching like fingers, curling toward him. The office is no longer a place, it's a living, breathing trap. Then it happens. A chair tips violently toward him, scraping across the floor. He jumps back, flashlight swinging, but the shadows seem to stretch further, closer, reacting to his fear. A cold pressure brushes against his arm, icy and deliberate, sending a shiver down his spine. He spins, flashlight beam catching nothing, yet he feels it. The whispers grow louder, circling him, pressing into his mind, mocking every heartbeat. Papers fly from desk, slapping his face. A monitor flickers, showing static, and for a split second Jake sees a hunched figure crouched in the corner, eyes faintly glowing. He blinks, it's gone, but the presence is tangible now, pressing, real, relentless. Every object reacts to his movements. Chairs tip, folders scatter, floorboards creak under invisible footsteps. The hallways stretch, warp, and twist. Doors vanish or appear impossibly far away. The building itself seems alive, actively working against him, keeping him trapped in the nightmare. Jake whispers to himself, "I just need to get out. Please." The laughter grows louder, sharper, more deliberate, echoing through every hallway, every shadow, surrounding him completely. He knows deep down this presence isn't just haunting him. It's interacting, testing him, tormenting him, and it isn't going to stop until it's had its way. Jake's legs are trembling, chest tight, heart hammering. Every shadow in the office twists unnaturally, crawling across walls and floors, closing in on him. The building itself seems alive, reshaping hallways and cubicles to keep him from escaping. The footsteps behind him grow louder, echoing, deliberate. They pace him perfectly, circling, mimicking his movements. He spins, flashlight swinging, but there's nothing visible. Just shadows, stretching and curling like living things. Chairs topple violently, papers fly from desks and folders cascade across hallways, forcing him into dead ends. Fluorescent lights flicker, plunging him into darkness, then illuminating glimpses of movement. Shadowy shapes in the corners, vanishing the instant he focuses. The whispers become deafening, low, guttural, forming almost words, pressing into his mind. Laughter joins in, sinister and metallic, bouncing off every wall, every cubicle, echoing in a way that disorients him completely. Jake realizes with sinking dread that the office itself is no longer passive. It's hunting him, herding him, anticipating his every move. Every instinct screams to flee, but every path leads him deeper into the labyrinth. The hunched figure appears again, faintly glowing eyes locking on him for just a heartbeat before vanishing. The shadows seem to pulse with it, moving like a pack, circling, constricting. Jake grips his flashlight tighter, whispering, I can't stay here." The building presses in, every corner, every wall conspiring to trap him. The entity isn't just stalking anymore, it's relentless, patient, and utterly merciless. Jake's chest is burning, legs trembling, flashlight beams shaking as he moves through the warped hallways. The office feels alive now, every shadow stretching unnaturally, every object reacting to his fear. Chairs tip violently, scraping across the floor. Papers fly from desks, slapping his face. Folders cascade from cubicles, forming walls that force him deeper into the maze. Every movement he makes is anticipated, blocked, herded toward the center, where the presence is strongest. The fluorescent lights flicker violently, plunging him into darkness, and then illuminating glimpses of shadowy figures crouched in corners. Jake blinks, gone, but the air is thick with the sense of watching, waiting, feeding on his panic. The whispers intensify, low, guttural, overlapping, echoing his own name in a mocking rhythm. Laughter joins, metallic and harsh, bouncing off walls, pressing into his ears and chest. The hallways warp even further, doors vanish or stretch impossibly far away. The building itself is actively preventing him from escaping. Every instinct screams to run, but every path loops back into the nightmare. Jake stumbles, flashlight trembling in his hands, and feels a cold pressure brush against his back. A chair tips violently near him, a folder slides across the floor, and he realizes with sinking dread that the office isn't just haunted, it's attacking, alive, aware, and relentless. He whispers, barely audible, I just need to get out. Please. The shadows tighten, curling like fingers, pressing closer, herding him deeper into the heart of the nightmare. Jake's panic spikes. He knows he's running out of options, and the entity isn't going to stop until it's claimed him completely. Jake's heart is hammering, every nerve on edge. The fluorescent lights flicker violently, casting long, twitching shadows that twist and stretch across the cubicles. The air is icy, biting at his skin, each breath fogging in front of him. Then it happens. Something brushes against his arm, icy, solid, deliberate. He jerks back, flashlight swinging, but the office appears empty. Empty? Not really. Shadows curl around corners, twist along walls, pressing closer. A chair tips violently behind him. Papers flutter like a gust of wind slaps them into his face. A monitor flickers on, showing static, and for a split second, Jake sees a hunched figure crouched in the shadows, glowing eyes locking onto him. He blinks. It's gone, but the pressure, the presence, remains. The whispers surge, low, guttural, circling his head, forming almost words. The laughter grows metallic, sharp, echoing from every direction. The entity is testing him, tormenting him, and it feels tangible, pressing, pushing, herding him into corners with every move he makes. The hallway he thought led to the exit has shifted again. Doors vanish, walls stretch, corners twist. The office is alive, anticipating his movements, guiding him deeper into the maze. Jake grips his flashlight tighter, legs trembling violently. Every instinct screams to flee, but the pressure of the entity against his body, the shifting shadows, the mocking whispers. It's relentless. He whispers, "I need to get out. I can't stay here." The presence presses closer, almost tangible, like icy fingers grazing his skin. Jake knows with a cold certainty, this night isn't just a haunting, it's a hunt, and he is the prey. Jake is trembling violently, chest tight, flashlight beam wobbling. The office has become an unrecognizable nightmare, every cubicle, hallway and corner alive with malevolent intent. Shadows stretch unnaturally, curling like living tendrils, pressing toward him from every angle. Objects move with precision. Chairs tip violently, scraping across the floor. Papers fly from desks, hitting him like cold, dry snow. Folders topple in controlled chaos, blocking paths and forcing him deeper into the maze. Every instinct screams to run, but every movement seems anticipated, every path herded toward the center. The fluorescent lights flicker in chaotic stutters, plunging him into darkness, and then illuminating fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures crouched in corners. Each blink reveals shapes that vanish the moment he focuses, yet the air remains thick with presence, oppressive and unyielding. The whispers grow deafening, low, guttural, overlapping, echoing his name in distorted, mocking tones. Laughter joins in, metallic and sharp, ricocheting off walls, filling every empty space, pressing into his chest and mind. The hallways stretch, corners bend, and doors vanish, twisting the building into an impossible labyrinth. The office isn't just haunted, it's alive, aware, and aggressively hunting him. Jake stumbles, flashlight trembling, barely able to breathe. A cold pressure brushes against his back again, solid, almost like fingers pressing him forward. He realizes with paralyzing dread that escape isn't just difficult, it may be impossible. He whispers, I have to get out." The shadows tighten, curling like coils around him, herding him deeper into the heart of the nightmare. Every object, every sound, every flicker of light conspires against him. Jake knows the entity is patient, relentless, and completely in control. He's trapped in a living nightmare, and the climax is approaching. Jake's legs are trembling uncontrollably, chest burning and flashlight beams shaking as he darts down the warped hallways. The office is no longer familiar. Every corner stretches, walls twist, and shadows pulse like living creatures, closing in on him. The whispers grow deafening, overlapping with metallic, sinister laughter. Papers fly, chairs tip, and folders cascade across the floors, forming obstacles that force him deeper into the labyrinth. The air is icy, heavy, pressing against him like unseen hands. Then the presence makes itself known in full. A cold, solid brush against his arm, a push at his back. The shadows pulse, curling like coils, pressing him toward a central point he doesn't recognize. A monitor flickers, showing the hunched figure he glimpsed earlier, eyes glowing faintly, focused entirely on him. Jake spins, flashlight swinging, but the entity isn't just a shadow anymore. He feels it, tangible, deliberate, guiding him, testing him, herding him. Every instinct screams to flee, but the building itself refuses, stretching and shifting, twisting exits out of reach. He sprints, dodging toppled chairs and flying papers, heart hammering, lungs burning. Every hallway seems longer than the last. Every corner hides movement. Every shadow conceals malice. The whispers scream, "You shouldn't be here," and the laughter crescendos into a chaotic roar. Finally, a door appears, a possibility. Jake barrels toward it, shoulder slamming against it, fumbling with the handle. It's cold, heavy, but he forces it open. The hallway outside is dark and quiet, eerily normal. Jake stumbles out, gasping, flashlight trembling. The oppressive weight of the office lifts slightly, though the memory of its presence lingers. He knows the building was alive, aware, hunting him, and he barely escaped with his sanity intact. Jake never works the night shift again. And even years later, he swears he can still hear whispers and footsteps in empty offices, always watching, always waiting. Jake never returned to that office at night. Some might say it was just stress, imagination, or too many late hours. But he knows the truth. Buildings can feel empty, but some aren't. They watch, they move, they wait, and if you're unlucky, they decide your prey. So, if you ever find yourself alone in an empty office, the lights flickering, shadows stretching across the walls, and whispers brushing at the edge of your mind, maybe just leave. Don't stick around to find out what's really there. Because some nightmares aren't just stories, they're waiting for you to walk right into them. And that's it for tonight. 5 disturbing, true janitor horror stories that show just how real nightmares can be when the lights go out. Remember, some places aren't as empty as they seem, and some shadows aren't just tricks of the light. Always trust your instincts, and maybe avoid the night shift. If you enjoyed these stories and want more sleepless, spine-chilling tales, make sure to hit subscribe and tap the bell. We post new nightmares every single day. Drop a comment and tell us which story gave you the creeps the most, or maybe you've had your own terrifying night shift encounter. We want to hear it. Stay safe, keep the lights on, and remember, some nightmares don't end when you wake up.